So, as anyone who has ever met a married man, we know that the premise for this film is absolutely true, which is that all married men believe that if it weren't for their wedding vows, they would be sleeping with every single beautiful woman that they saw. But don't you think it's kind of that delusion is the fuel that gives men the will to live? Is addressing it not messing with the fabric of the universe in some way?
That's a really good point. Like but that's a good reason for not having a hall pass. You can go on believing that you are appealing to many, many, many women, rather than find out the reality of it. That maybe those days are long gone.
I mean, is that sort of the universality of it? Is that what appealed to you originally, in terms of wanting to do the project?
Honestly, what appealed to me, wanting to do the project, is that we'd read the original script, Hall Pass, by this guy Pete Jones, who the original screenwriter, and it was very funny. We just thought it's a great idea. It is it's about marriage. There's so many married people, and just fantasize for a week about getting a week off from marriage and the comedy that ensues. That's what drew me to it.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a comedy, but it has a sort of sweet element too. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Is this in some way a little Valentine to your wives?
Well, it's interesting because it does seem like such a like a subversive idea. These guys go off and take the week off from marriage, but in our story, they come back and they're more into their wives than ever. And so they do have a character arc, and how they went about getting that arc is what's funny. But yeah, I think it is marriage affirming and all that ultimately, and we're both fortunately in happy marriages.
What was your wife's influence on the script?
That's a good question too.
They had a bigger influence on this script than any other movie we've ever made, to be perfectly honest, and because the original draft was written by Pete Jones, who's the guy from Project Greenlight. I don't know if you're familiar with that guy.
Oh yeah,
he's hysterical. And we didn't know him, but he sent the script. We howled. We just thought it was great. And we started rewriting it with him and trying to make it better and better. And then when we thought we were done, we gave it to our wives. My wife,
and then you knew you weren't.
Hated it. Like, she always likes our script, but this she hated. She didn't say oh, it's pretty good here, and I hate this. I hate everybody in it. I don't like the wives. I hate the guys. Like, wait a second, hold on. And the reason she hated it was because
put the gun down.
Yeah. Just back a week. Put down the gun and the bottle. She was really put off because in the original draft, the guys got a week off. They got their hall pass, and the wives went away to Cape Cod. They were basically chewing their fingernails for the week, wondering, "What do you think they're doing now? What do you think they're doing now? Do you think they're out now?" And she's like, "Are you crazy? If you get a hall pass, I'm getting a hall pass." And then we had to explain to her, "Well, wait a second, honey. If I gave you a hall pass, there'd be no hall pass," because then I'd say, "No, I'm not going to give you a hall pass." No guy's going to give his wife a hall pass because you could go out in 30 seconds and get things moving. No man is going to do that. And then finally we realized, well, wait a second. If the wives have given the guys a week off from marriage, well, then they're really not married to anybody, so they can do whatever they want to do. It's implied. They don't have to ask permission, and then it goes both ways. But without the guys knowing about it. And that's when it gets really interesting.
So the women are ultimately kind of the winners.
Hugely.
I think so, yeah.
It's a guy concept, but the women win.
You guys, obviously, you're working on the Three Stooges, and you've talked about that as being a huge influence on you. Can you talk about what the story might be in the Three Stooges, and perhaps some of the cast? Do you know anything about the casting? You're still working on that?
Yeah, well, we grew up watching the Three Stooges. We'd come home from school, and they'd be running on TV, and we used to just watch episode after episode. All the kids in town did, and everyone laughed at the Stooges. It was just, even though they were made, decades before our time, it was still funny, that kind of slapstick. So we've always been huge fans, and we've always dreamed of redoing them, having three new Stooges, not a biopic, but three new guys, and bringing them back out and introducing them to kids that don't know them so much. And the original Stooges were all done in shorts. They were like 20 to 25-minute shorts. So the way we set up our script is there are three shorts, and each one sort of leads into the next one and leads into the next one. And collectively, it's a big story. So it'll be very, true to the original Stooges. As far as the casting goes, you want to talk about the casting?
We've made no hard decisions yet, but we've seen some fantastic Mo, Larry, and Curly's, like really good. But because we're seeing others, we're holding off on making any decisions because there's a bunch of people still coming in the door, and we're trying to be fair because we want to pick the best Mo, Larry, Curly. It can't be like close, or it can't be like someone's take on Mo, Larry, and Curly. This isn't Batman,
Right.
where everybody can do their own little, Batman version. This is Mo, Larry, and Curly, and it's got to be spot on.
It's not a lot of pressure in terms of we all have our ideas about Mo, Larry, and Curly, and
it's a good kind of pressure. It is pressure in movie making, but not like the pressure that you feel when you.
Not brain surgery, right?
No, or most jobs like we have less pressure, I would say, than the average man.
The pressure with the Stooges, of course, is that they're comedic icons, and we have to make a very funny movie, but that's what we intend to do. We'll be as true to as we possibly can to the original Stooges, and I think that if we do that, it is going to be a funny movie, and we're comfortable in that we have three great characters to start with.